But, one of the things Trisha and I have talked about for years, especially after her first transplant, when we had to become very conscious about germs. CF people don't have to be conscious about germs so much as they do about contracting things from other CF patients. That's kind of the biggest deal, especially when you're more on the healthy side. As the CF patient gets sicker, they have to become more concerned about things. But the germaphobe really kicked in once Trisha got her first transplant. And so we've always talked about this idea that we need to live with the understanding that healthy people are, in general, for the most part, selfish. Not on purpose and not in an evil way, but it's like people who drive motorcycles, and I've used this analogy before. I've never driven a motorcycle. I've never been on a motorcycle. I never want to be on a motorcycle. I know way too many people, friends, who have been in serious motorcycle accidents. I don't like loud machines. I just have a lot of reasons. I'll never get on a motorcycle. But I know a lot of people ride motorcycles, and motorcyclists will tell you that if you get on a motorcycle and ride down the street, you have to assume that everybody around you is not going to see you and is going to cut you off and bump into you and run you over. So you're always on the defensive when you're riding a motorcycle. That's what it's like when you have a chronic illness. You have to assume that nobody around you understands what that's like. And we try our best to educate people, but a lot of people, until you experience it, you just can't understand. I mean, I don't know what it's like to ride a motorcycle, so I'm not going to make fun of people who ride motorcycles for being so angry about, you see the meme going around about when you cut your lawn, don't spray your grass clippings on the road, because apparently that's a big, dangerous thing for motorcyclists. I would have never thought about that. I've been cutting grass for years, and I would have never thought about that until recently. So there's just this natural premise that healthy people are selfish. They just don't think about how their common cold and going to work or sending their kids to school with a cold can infect me at work, or can infect my kids at their school, and then we bring that home to Trisha. Trisha gets sick and dies. So that's just the general concept. So it's been interesting to watch how that premise that we've lived our lives by has been proven true the past several weeks. As you see the college kids down in Florida spring breaking and saying, oh, Corona is not, I watched a video earlier today, and of course they're all drunk, and I have a whole nother spiel about that, but it's just Corona, we're gonna live our lives, and YOLO and all this stuff, and they just have no concern for other people around them. So I think part of the reason we've been so open through the first two transplants, and again this time, is education. We really want to help educate people. And I'm a selfish person by nature. I'm not a compassionate person by nature, especially with people I don't know, people I see about on the news, stupid people doing stupid things. I kind of roll my eyes, and so I'm been trying the past couple of years to work on my ability to be more compassionate towards people. So that's our goal with education, is if we can all become a little bit more compassionate. And I was reading an article about Great Britain was apparently attempting to do this thing where let everybody go out in public, let everybody get sick, become immune to this virus, get over it more quickly, which sounds like a great idea for everybody except people who are chronically ill. Because when you go out and get sick and go to the same grocery store that I go to, if I get sick, one, I have to quarantine myself from Trisha. I'm Trisha's only caregiver here in Durham. We got to ask another family member to come live 24/7 with Trisha. Two, if I get sick and I'm sleeping in the same bed with Trisha and I'm not symptomatic for, they say, up to a week or two, that automatically Trisha's going to get sick. So you cannot simply say, I'm just going to go about my business and do my own thing. And that's been frustrating for us because it really, I mean, every time right now, I'm always a germaphobe when I go to a grocery store, especially a pharmacy, because you know sick people go to pharmacies, to CVS and Walgreens. But especially now, like, I'm walking around, I don't touch it unless I'm putting it in my cart. I'm thinking about who had this cart last time. Did they cough on it? I need to wipe down this whole cart. Anything I take from the grocery store into my apartment may possibly have a virus, the flu, coronavirus on it. You know, I need to wash. You know, Trisha loves fruit and vegetables, so I'm washing fruit and vegetables. You know, the milk carton, if somebody else touched that milk carton from the cow to my apartment, it's got some kind of germs on it. All kinds of things that most healthy people do not think about, that we've been thinking about for 12 years. And thankfully we've been living this way for 12 years. So I'm not having to change a whole lot about what I do, just being even more vigilant about it. But the bottom line is, if I get sick with coronavirus, before I know I'm sick, Trisha's already contracted that from me. There's no way around that. I mean, even if I sleep in a separate bed from her, I'm feeding her all her meals. I'm giving her all her medication. I'm touching everything. So she's going to get sick. So that's not scary, because I'm not a worrier about that kind of stuff. But it is frustrating to know that there are people walking around the Outer Banks, walking around Durham, who don't care at all. And that's frustrating. And that my personality is geared towards justice. I like people to do the right thing, and when people do the wrong thing, I get really frustrated. When I do the wrong thing, I get really frustrated with myself. And it's the wrong thing to ignore what the health professionals and the government are telling us right now. So if you're watching this video, there's my little spiel about don't panic, take precautions, think about others. Think about others. You know, if it was just me, I would not be worried about getting sick with the coronavirus. I'm probably not going to die. I'm probably not going to get very sick. I'm probably not going to end up in the hospital. I'm a relatively healthy person, still relatively young, blah, blah, blah. So I understand that way of thinking. But because of Trisha, I don't have the liberty to think that way. And I wish other people wouldn't as well, because it only takes you touching me, touching Trisha, and she's dead. And that's, anybody can touch me, anybody. If I have to go out in public, I can't, even if I got our groceries delivered to our home, how many people have touched those groceries? So there's a lot to think about.